step into the opulent, sun-drenched courtyards of Hyderabad, a city ruled by the powerful Nizam in the late 18th century. Here, amidst the scent of jasmine and the hushed whispers of courtly intrigue, lived a young woman of noble lineage, Khair-un-Nissa. Her name meant most excellent among women, and she was a jewel of the court, the granddaughter of the Nizam's prime minister, destined for a life of secluded luxury and a strategic marriage. Her world was a gilded cage, beautiful yet fiercely guarded. The Nizam's palace was a universe unto itself, a labyrinth of marble corridors, sprawling gardens, and latticed windows. It was a place where secrets were a currency more valuable than gold. Every glance, every whispered word was noted. The air was thick with political maneuvering, as the powerful families of Hyderabad vied for influence, all while navigating the growing presence of the British East India Company. It was in this charged atmosphere that Khair-un-Nissa, a princess in all but name, came of age, her every move dictated by tradition and family honor. But destiny, it seems, had a very different plan for her. Into this world of veiled faces and unspoken rules stepped a man unlike any other, James Achilles Kirkpatrick, the British resident at the court of the Nizam. He wasn't just another colonial official. He was a man deeply enchanted by the culture he was meant to influence. He spoke fluent Persian, the language of the court, dressed in lavish Mughal attire, and carried himself with a charisma that blurred the lines between diplomat and local nobleman. He was known as Hashmad Jung Glorious in battle, a title bestowed upon him by the Nizam himself. This cultural immersion made him a fascinating and controversial figure. But it was this very charm that would pierce the heart of the secluded court and capture the attention of one of its most protected treasures. It began with a glance, a fleeting moment during a court function where eyes met across a crowded hall. For Khair-un-Nissa, raised in the zenana of the women's quarters, seeing a man like Kirkpatrick was both forbidden and electrifying. For Kirkpatrick, she was a vision of grace and beauty. An impossible connection sparked, defying every rule of their respective societies. But how could a romance blossom in a place where a woman's honor was guarded by eunuchs and every wall had ears? They had to be creative. Their love story unfolded not in grand declarations, but in the silent language of secret messages. Their correspondence became a masterpiece of clandestine communication. Notes, penned in elegant Persian, were hidden within bouquets of flowers, tucked into the folds of silk garments, or passed through a chain of trusted intermediaries. The palace maids, loyal and discreet, became the silent conductors of this forbidden orchestra. These women, often invisible in the grand narrative of history, were the true gatekeepers of the secret. They navigated the treacherous court politics, risking their own safety, to ferry messages of longing and affection between the young noblewoman and the British resident. Each successfully delivered note was a small victory, a testament to the trust and loyalty that love can inspire, even in the most perilous of circumstances. Imagine the tension, the heart-pounding fear, and exhilarating thrill of it all. Khair-un-Nissa, waiting by her window, her heart aflutter, listening for the softest footfall that signaled a new message had arrived. Kirkpatrick, in his grand residency, poring over her words, his diplomatic duties fading into the background as his heart became consumed by a love that could cost him his career and her reputation, and even her life. Their letters were not just love notes. They were lifelines, each one a thread weaving their two separate worlds together, tighter and tighter, in a tapestry of shared secrets and stolen moments. But this was more than just a tale of star-crossed lovers. It was a clash of empires, played out in the heart of one young woman. Khair-un-Nissa was torn between her duty to her family and her heart's deepest desire. An arranged marriage loomed, a political alliance that would secure her family's status. To defy it would bring shame and disaster upon her house. Her love for Kirkpatrick was a rebellion, a personal declaration of independence against the rigid structures that defined her existence. It was a choice between the world she was born into and a world she dared to imagine with a man from a distant land. This internal conflict raged within her, a silent battle as profound as any fought on the fields of India. Meanwhile, Kirkpatrick faced his own impossible dilemma. As a representative of the British Empire, his primary duty was to maintain political stability and advance British interests. A scandal involving the Prime Minister's granddaughter could unravel everything. His superiors in Calcutta and London would be outraged. He was risking his reputation, his position, and the delicate balance of power he had worked so hard to build. Was his love for Khair-un-Nissa worth jeopardizing the interests of an empire? For him, duty and desire were on a collision course, and the fate of nations hung in the balance of his heart. The whispers in the palace grew louder. A romance this intense, this dangerous, could not stay hidden forever. The watchful eyes of the court began to notice the subtle changes, the lingering glances, the unusual frequency of gifts being exchanged. The palace maids, those silent witnesses, held the secret, but the pressure was mounting. Rumors began to swirl, poisoning the air with suspicion and jealousy. The story of Khair-un-Nissa and James Kirkpatrick was about to break out of the secluded zenana and explode onto the stage of international politics, threatening to bring down everyone involved. In a dramatic turn of events, their secret was exposed. The scandal erupted, shaking the foundations of Hyderabad's court. Khair-un-Nissa's family was disgraced, and the Nizam was furious. The affair became a major political incident. Yet, against all odds, love triumphed. Kirkpatrick, in an unprecedented move, formally sought her hand. He converted to Islam, married Khair-un-Nissa in a Muslim ceremony, and brought her to live with him at the British residency. She became known as Begum Kirkpatrick, a princess who had dared to choose her own destiny. Their story is a powerful reminder that even in the most rigid of worlds, the human heart whispers its own truth. And sometimes, those whispers are powerful enough to change the course of history. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you were captivated by the story of Khair-un-Nissa and James Kirkpatrick, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of history's hidden figures. Let me know in the comments what you think about their incredible story of love against all odds. See you in the next video.